I woke up in my husband's arms, devoid of memory. His smile greeted me, followed by a tender kiss on my forehead. "Who are you?" I inquired. His gentle reply, "It's me, my love. I'm your husband. You don't remember?" Beside our bed lay two exquisite little girls, our daughters, he explained. "I don't remember that I have two daughters. I don't even remember their name." As I confessed my amnesia, my husband introduced himself as Kang, revealing our daughters' names as Kia and Mai. Their faces, mirroring ours, evoked a sense of familiarity. Elevated to sit at the edge of the bed, I was served rice porridge. Tears streamed as I embraced my daughters, their scent enveloping me. I feel like an infant that has no memories of anything. Assured by Kang that remembrance might dawn soon, I learned of our 7-year marriage. Born of love amid adversity, our village life, scarred by war and bereavement, forged bonds of survival. My husband asked me if I recalled being admired for my beauty, even though I was already married to him. Other men desired me, yet he never entertained their offers. According to my husband, other men has been coming to our house to offer gold and animals for my hand. After listening to my husband for a few days, memories of men seeking to trade for me resurfaced. Despite our poverty, Kang's love prevented him from parting with me. While my husband was telling me about us, my two daughters were there listening too. My husband held Kia and Mai was lying on my chest while I touched her hair. I told my husband that I remember things now, but I still don't remember what happened to me. Why did I not remember what happened to me? Kang told me that one day we were farming and it was hot. I didn't drink much water, so I blacked out. I fell and hit my head hard on a tree stump. That's why the right side of my head has a bump and still hurts. Right after my husband told me this, someone knocked on our door. My husband went to open it and there were 3 men. They brought with them lots of money, some chicken and a cow. These men wanted my husband to trade me for their money and animals, but my husband told them that he won't give me to them. After that, my husband closed the door and the men left our village. A few days later, Kang told me to stay home. He and our 2 daughters will go to another village to invite a shaman to do a ritual for me to make sure that I'm healthy. Before my husband and daughters left, he told me to stay home. Don't go farming or do any house chores. He doesn't want me to black out again. Kang made me some foods for the day before they left. Right around 2 p.m., Kang and my daughters came back to our village with a shaman. The shaman did a ritual until after sunset. He also changed my name from Nu to Moon. My old name, Nu means sun in our language. The name change is usually done to protect the person that was sick or has fallen ill from evil spirits. My husband loves me and my 2 daughters so much. Most of the time, he would go farming by himself and leave me home with our 2 daughters. He would farm all day and I just stay home to take care of our 2 daughters. But when he comes home, it was him that would give me a massage, and sometimes he would sing to me. Sometimes he's funny. He would leave to go to the farm. After a while, I would think that he'd be far already, but he would come back just to tell me that he went halfway, and he already misses me, so that's why he came back to see me and kiss me before he goes. Living with him every day is like falling in love all over again. Some days I would make Kia and Mai go to the farm with him to help him. He would leave our 2 daughters at the farm and come back home to see me again. I kept telling him not to do that because Kia and Mai are still so little. He kept telling me that the farm is not too far. One day around sunset, my husband and daughters were at the farm. 3 men came to our village and started knocking on our door. I opened the door, finding an older man and 2 young men standing there. They carried bags of gold and silver, along with 2 pigs. The old man asked if I was new. I explained that my name is Moon, but in the past, I was known as New. "Oh, that's why we've been looking for you and couldn't find you, because you've changed your name," the old man remarked. I informed them that if they were bringing animals, gold, and silver to ask for my hand in marriage, I wouldn't accept. My husband would never trade me for such things. "That's not it, daughter. I'm bringing you and your husband this gold and silver because I've heard that you and your husband are very poor. These animals are for you too. I am your uncle, and when I heard that you and your husband are very poor, I just wanted to help," the old man clarified. When the old man asked if they could come in, I informed him that my husband and daughters were not home, but they should be back soon as it was already sunset. Despite my initial reluctance, I allowed the 3 men inside our house after they tied their 2 pigs outside. Seated across from them, I listened as the old man claimed to be my elder uncle, expressing concern for my well-being. He insisted I return to my village as my family was worried about me. I suggested they go first, and when Keng returned, I would ask him to take me to see my family. However, the old man insisted I must go with them immediately, citing my family's anxiety. Despite his familiarity, I remained skeptical of his intentions, suspecting they merely sought my hand in marriage. Refusing their offer, I watched as the old man retrieved a large taro leaf from a bag, poking 2 holes in it. He reassured me that even if I declined to go with them, they wouldn't force me once my husband and daughters returned. As the sun set, I peeked through the holes of the woven bamboo wall in our house and saw my husband, Kia, and Mai walking towards our home. Following the old man's instructions, I looked towards my husband and daughters through the holes in the taro leaf. At first, my husband and daughters appeared distorted, but upon removing the leaf, they returned to their familiar selves. I wasn't sure what I just saw. I put the leaf back on and looked through the holes again. My husband was walking like a zombie or a drunk man with a broken neck, and my 2 daughters has feet pointed to the back. Their faces are all rotted. I looked around our village with the leaf and there were no people. All the houses were old and broken. I turned to the old man with tears in my eyes. He said to me, "Daughter, you're not dead yet. You have family at home. You have a husband that's still waiting for you. Come with me and I'll take you back. You can't stay here anymore. You're not dead yet." I was about to reach out to his hand, but I held back. I took a few steps back and shook my head no. Now I remember everything. This old man really is my uncle. He is a strong shaman, but he lives far away. During that interaction, my memories resurface. I'm starting to remember my life from the living. My uncle said, "Daughter, after what you've seen, you still refuse to go with us?" I told him that I do not want to go back. My uncle came and grabbed my hand. The 2 young men went to hide on the side of the door. I saw my uncle took out his shaman sword. As my husband and daughters approached the door, the 2 young men grabbed him while my uncle brandished his sword. "We're just here to retrieve our daughter. The gold and silver here are all yours and you must not follow us," my uncle declared to Keng. My uncle took me outside, and it was already dark. Then suddenly it got really windy. I saw a white horse with wings came from the sky and landed next to us. My uncle forced me to get on the horse and then he climbed and sat behind me. The 2 men that was holding on to my husband let go, and the 2 men turns into 2 white lights flying ahead. The horse follows the 2 white lights. I looked back and saw tears flowing down my husband's eyes. As we were flying, I see long, dark, shadowy arms that were trying to grab us. My uncle told me to close my eyes so I won't be afraid. He said not to open my eyes until he tells me to open my eyes. I closed my eyes and just listened. I can hear the crying of a girl as if she's very sad. She must be someone that's still waiting for her loved one. My uncle kept reminding me not to open my eyes. I can feel the wind on my face and my hairs. I can hear the crying of a man that sounds like he's still waiting for his wife. I can hear him say, "When are you going to be here?" I can hear that man crying and saying things as our horse flew past him. Then I heard a cry of a newborn child. I cannot hold back my tears. It made me miss my two daughters, Kia and Mai. I can't hold back, so I opened my eyes and looked around and saw a baby floating in the air and crying. My uncle covered my eyes with his hands. He told me to keep my eyes closed because if I don't, we might not make it home. He wanted me to keep my eyes closed until he said I can open them. After flying for a while, all the crying and mourning started to fade until I can no longer hear them. That's when my uncle said I can open my eyes. When I opened my eyes, I saw my mother, my aunt, and my husband at the side of my bed. I was in a coma dream. Everyone looks like they had just got done crying. My husband started crying to me and told me that he's sorry. When my uncle finished his ritual, he told my parents and relatives that on that day when my husband hit me on the head with a stick at the farmhouse, I black out. During the time I black out, something took my soul into the spirit world. I guess the one that took my soul was my spirit husband, Kang. During that time, I wished I didn't come back to the living world. I was living in a different world, with two beautiful daughters and a husband who loved me. It was a life I had been yearning for. I couldn't believe that it was all just a dream, a coma dream. Here in the real world, my husband and I have been married for 3 years. I wasn't able to get pregnant, so he married a second wife. After 2 years, they also weren't able to have any kids. Therefore, it was considered his fault. What happened was that on that day at the farm, I got into an argument with my husband and his second wife. He hit me on the head with a stick, and I blacked out. His second wife already didn't want to be with him because he couldn't produce a baby. After that day, the second wife was worried that one day, my husband might hit her too. Therefore, my husband's second wife took off and never returned. I always wanted to be a mother. I always wanted to have at least one child. But because my husband couldn't have a child, and not just that, he also didn't love me, which is why he married a second wife. I don't know why the life in my dream and the one in the real world are so different. That's why I wished I hadn't come back to the living. However, after I came back and the second wife left, my husband promised me never to marry another wife again. He said he knew it was his fault that we didn't have a baby, so he would start looking for medicine to help himself so we could have a baby. My husband also started loving me and wouldn't let me do any chores until I'm completely healed. A year later, my husband and I were able to have a baby boy. I had never told anyone the name of my husband in the spirit world. So, because of that, I named him King. That's all for this video. Thank you for making all the way through and supporting my stories. Have a wonderful day or night.